What's up, guys? Welcome back. It's your boy, Professor Charles S. Live today. Yes, on Friday. Y'all know what time it is, man. Welcome to my first live on freaking Friday, guys. I hope that people can make it by. I hope it's just not me on this live. I promoted it. I've told people about it and everything. I hope everyone's having a wonderful, terrific Friday, as you can see. But I'm sitting here chilling, and I just want to thank you guys. I'm just hoping, waiting to see if anybody's gonna tune in. If anybody's gonna tune in. Oh man. Let me tell y'all, man. Let me tell you guys, man. Today did not go as planned. So there were two new anime that came out today, and I wanted to see them. So they were on Crunchyroll. All right. First anime is a Taikubo anime. By far, I was impressed by Taikubo's Bleach, my favorite supernatural anime. And Taikubo has another anime out, literally, and it's called Burn the Witch. I read the manga for it. I finished the manga for season one, so season one is pretty much done. For it in the manga, not in the actual anime adaptation. That came out today. The bad news about it though was when I got to freaking Crunchyroll, I was thinking like it was gonna be where I'll be able to watch it. You know, unfortunately that was not the case. I couldn't watch it because Crunchyroll has the premium. If you're not a premium member, you cannot watch certain anime. So that was a disappointment or a letdown. On top of that, Jitsu Kaisen, which is another anime that's a new anime that I kept seeing things about throughout the week on Twitter, either Instagram, and got let down again, man. They Crunchyroll is forcing premium down people's freaking throats, man. Like, I already got Hulu and Netflix. I'm not adding another service to be taken out of my account. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely not. So I just said screw it all together. And I guess I can tell y'all about some of my favorite supernatural and horror animes that I watched and what I got from them. So let's start off with Supernatural. So my very first Supernatural anime, maybe I should say Shaman King. Shaman King is probably the very first one. I don't know if anybody grew up on Shaman King. That was my junk. I cannot lie. I seen it, I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? My man's, he got the spirit with him. Spirit of a samurai. You got this boy named Yo. Then you got I think the other one's named Rin, that has this what is it? Some type of Mongolian warrior that's a spirit and stuff. Shaman King was probably my very first supernatural anime that I saw. But then again, it was very entertaining. The story was very interesting. The characters throughout the show kept it interesting. Even his twin brother Zeke, in Shaman King. I really thought that was a neat supernatural anime. Even the characters that were like his rivals or end up becoming his allies, they were very interesting characters. But Shaman King was definitely a supernatural anime that I got into at an early age. I remember it was on 4Kids TV. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely Shaman King. Now, the next supernatural anime I got into, and this is back in my high school years. I'm taking it back, y'all. I'm taking it back. Was Bleach by Taikubo. I think with Bleach, I just like the storyline. You know what I'm saying? When I first saw Bleach, I didn't quite understand the story for it. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't read them. I didn't read the all the manga, because at the time they had a manga for Bleach. I was so far behind on it, so I stuck to the anime. And personally, I think Bleach is definitely it's a top contender for a supernatural anime. You know what I'm saying? Probably by far one of my favorite supernatural anime. It really does suck that Bleach will not be coming back into 2021 or 2022, whichever one. I think it's 2021. And it kind of sucks because, man, I really enjoyed Bleach. I would love to see the story pretty much being almost completely done. And me not seeing the story completely done is not necessarily a good thing. Hold on, guys. Okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, so that's pretty much what it is. Also, my favorite horror anime, pretty much, my very first horror anime that I ever saw had to be Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan was just, it was so gritty. The very first episode, man, you seen these giant, like, people drunk, like they were walking and they coming real fast, and you're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And them just eating other human beings, man. The first episode was traumatic, boy. My man's lost his mama. He saw his mama get ate in front of him, like literally. And I said, dang, you know what I'm saying? And I love the story behind it. Like, it's this big wall that's supposed to be protecting these citizens. And we got the military, we got religion, we got the people that's against the society, people that are not really privileged, or I should say maybe lower class citizens within this wall. And I thought to myself, I said, wow, man, this really is horror, man. In a dystopia like society, these people are getting ate by these things called titans, and they're pretty big, like Nephilims, pretty much. But they run towards you drunk, and sometimes there's a school of them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you have your regular titans, and then you have your ones that are a little bit different from your regular titans. But yes, Attack on Titans was definitely my very first horror anime. By far, you know, for it to be my first anime, excuse me, that was horror. It was really good, excuse me. It was a really good anime. I liked the character development with Eren and also his friend Armin. You know what I'm saying? And Mikasa. Like I said, it sucks. Literally, when I think about Attack on Titan, I'm like, man, it sucks that we're on season 4. It's going to be the final season for the show, and I'm just like, you know, and it's disappointing, man, because I really enjoyed Attack on Titan. And I feel like we're the fans, or the people that are otakus that are used to this, they won't see that now, because pretty much they're like, no, we don't, you know what I'm saying? This is not what we're not going to put out no more seasons after that. So if you really want to get into that type of anime, you will have to read the mangas, which is fine, but sometimes the anime adaptation, sometimes you want to see the color visuals, whereas with manga, most manga is black and white, you know what I'm saying? So it sucks that they kind of just said we're not gonna complete the series with the 4th season, even though it's supposed to be the final season. And we've heard that before with anime too, where they say, oh, it's the final season, then they decide to finish off where they left off, like with Bleach. That's what's happening with Bleach too. But I'm glad that that's finally been happening, because that a few years back, they've been saying, oh, Bleach is returning, and the Quincy King arc, and I'm like, you know, so yeah, I'm a little disappointed that Attack on Titan is ending shorter than I expected it to. And you know, I just have to understand that, you know, you can't please everybody, and there's a reason for that. So that's personally fine with me. But let's talk about the other anime that I got into that was horror. Tokyo Ghoul. Now, with Tokyo Ghoul, it was similar, to Attack on Titan because they're feasting on humans, but they're not Titans, okay? Literally, they're a species of people called ghouls. So ghouls, they're usually, yeah, can't please them all. True, 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 true. Yeah. So with Attack on Titan, and then also Tokyo Ghoul, it dealt with humans getting ate on. So with Tokyo Ghoul, it dealt with ghouls. And I mean, it's a little interesting. The story builds up a bit. It wasn't just like with Attack on Titan where you see all these different things happening, then this traumatic experience comes on. Our main character pretty much goes on a date with this girl, and he doesn't know Kaneki. Kaneki goes on a date with this girl. That's the main character, and he doesn't realize she's a ghoul. He doesn't have any clue that she's a ghoul. And then one day, because they had been dating for a while and everything, he decides to walk her home, and she leads him into a trap. Pretty much, she wants to feast on him and everything, and pretty much he gets away from her, but then something happens where stuff lands on his body, and what happens is he survives, but that came with a price. He ends up having her organs inside of his body, so now he's half ghoul, half human, and having to deal with it. But one thing I loved about Tokyo Ghoul, it kind of dealt with duality, because the ghoul that he had her organs inside his body, she was trying to make him something he wasn't. He had to fight the evil and the good because he was more, in some ways, human. Yes, he had ghoul ways, but the problem was he didn't want to be like the person that he got his parts from. And I was just like, man, and throughout the show, we see Kaneki struggling with, is he really human? Is he really ghoul? He's kind of it's like a thin line, you know what I'm saying? The ghouls respect them, you know what I'm saying? The humans do. But then eventually people find out that he's a ghoul. His best friend found out. He and his best friends becomes a ghoul due to a situation where Kaneki had no choice but to kind of bite him a bit. And now he's a ghoul. And the ghouls are not really keen on him because of the scent that he has with the previous ghoul that lured him into a trap that ends up dying. And we see him struggling with her because even though he has her body parts, inside his organs, her organs and stuff, she wants him to not be the type of person that he doesn't want to be. You know what I'm saying? She's trying to force him to be like how she was when she was alive. And the ghouls pick up on it that he's not an ordinary ghoul. And we see that with Kaneki. Kaneki faces a lot of problems with, does he want to be this way good, or does he want to be bad? And I think with the last season of Tokyo Ghoul, we see Kaneki take a stand. You know what I'm saying? He worked with the humans for a while. Eventually, he worked with other half ghouls, and we saw their relationships. Each half ghoul had a different relationship with Kaneki. And I think we see Kaneki have a turning point in the last season, where he did not want to be like the person that gave him his powers, and we see she's like, oh, you should be this way, and Kaneki figures out like I don't want to be like her and everything, and I think it's really neat for horror anime. Then you got these other people that are hunting the ghouls, that are humans, that are taking ghoul parts and making them into weapons and trying to kill off ghouls, whether they're half ghouls or just ghouls. We see the one ghoul that Kaneki, that was like I wouldn't necessarily say a father figure, but like an elder to him. We see his story and how he was the way he was and what led him to the path that he was on, because he ends up becoming crazy. He lost his wife, his kid. He didn't lose the kid. He lost his wife. They killed her when they found out that he was a ghoul. And the daughter ends up having so much hatred for the father because he had to let her go. He didn't want her to live in a life being a ghoul and being a target amongst other ghouls trying to kill her off and everything, because her father was a pretty powerful ghoul in the series. And we see her end up being just like her old man to an extent. But yes, Tokyo Ghoul was definitely one of my other favorite horror anime. Now the next one on the list, I finished the manga for it. And it's a really good series. I would have to say The Promised Neverland. The Promised Neverland is probably the most different horror anime I've seen in years that has come out. And the reason for that is personally, with this, I gotta say, what Promised Neverland is with kids. Three different kids. Emma, Norma, and Ray, and they're on this plantation. But the problem with this is, and this is why I like The Promised Neverland, it's a different type of horror anime. They're on this plantation where they're being raised as cattle for demons. Oh, I was like, whoa. And the kids find out that mama is not mama like you thought she was. You thinking mama gonna be the protective caretaker of the kids and everything. Mama was not that. Mama was nice when she wanted to be, but when it came to, feeding the kids, cleaning them up, caring for them, she had a sweet, innocent side, but she had a darker nature. And when Connie got killed on Promised Neverland, the kids saw that firsthand, that mama was sending these kids to these demons, and the kids were pretty much live food labor to the demons, pretty much like an agreement between the demons and the humans. But I gotta say, I love The Promised Neverland. Season 1 was really good. It sucks that they're taking a little bit too long for a season 2 right now. I finished the manga for it. I think personally, the manga was really good. I think I was a little disappointed with the ending. It wasn't the best ending ever, but I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? They did eventually make it to the human world because they were stuck in the demon world for like a nice chunk of the series. But I gotta say it was a really good anime. We learned that the kids, even though they had their differences, they learned to work together. Norman, Ray, and Emma. Ray is the only blood relative of Mama. And it was weird how Ray found out that Mama was his mother. He's like, oh yeah, I remember when they played this instrument, da da da. So Ray has I guess you could say a photogenic memory. Even when he was in Mama's womb, he remembers her voice and everything. Even his father playing the music. His father was from another plantation that was raised as human cattle for the demons and stuff. And he eventually ends up escaping. I think he ends up dying too. But I like Emma. Emma's probably like my favorite female main character in the series. I also like Norman. Norman was he's the oldest out of the kids, but probably the smartest one. Ray is the most impulsive but strategic. He had to play, and like he didn't know what was going on with the kids and stuff. And Mama being his extra relative, he he wasn't always happy with how she treated the kids and everything. But I love in season when they eventually escape and everything. Now they're out in the wilderness. Some of the kids they had to leave behind because if they would have took all the kids, Mama would have knew. And I think The Promised Neverland it's a very promising series. I really hope that season 2 comes pretty soon next year, hopefully, because I really did enjoy the show. I feel like it has potential to be another dope horror anime. I mean, like I said, the other ones I mentioned, Tokyo Ghoul, Attack on Titan, those were good anime. It just sucks with Attack on Titan that it's not going to be a completely finished series, but I just have to take it for what it is. But yes, definitely. Also, I want to talk to you guys about this whole Lupe fiasco and Kendrick Lamar thing. When it really boils down to it, and I gotta say, I really like both artists for their differences, and I look at it like this. I think when it comes to completed, like when I feel like something's really completed, I think Kendrick Lamar is a better artist than Lupe. Lupe is way more lyrical. And I think for some people, he goes over people's heads. I know. I remember I was telling one of the people that I knew at the time, um, that pretty much that that's the type of artist Lupe is. You know what I'm saying? Lupe is lyrical. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes these bars go over people's heads and stuff. But I think Lupe has a solid discography, man. You know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying? I know people were saying Lupe think he's better than Kendrick and all that stuff. To me, it really, it all depends. I mean, everyone has their preferences. I think they're both great, complex rappers. And I think that's what really works out for Kendrick Lamar and Lupe. I think with Kendrick, even his most I remember the Untitled album he came out with a couple years back before he dropped his other album. Um, I felt like that was a complete that sounded pretty complete. Lupe's more conscious, Kendrick's more of a complete artist. True, correct. I totally agree with you on that. Also with Lupe, I don't know, man. I think Lupe label kind of screwed him too. So that's why I think Lupe is still a great artist. You know what I'm saying? Still a great artist. Kendrick can rap two different style to beats. Yes, Kendrick does have he has a versatileness to himself with the music. Yes. I think with Lupe, I think the label Atlantic Records that he was signed to, I feel like Lasers could have been way better. It was still a great album. I like Lasers for what it was, but I felt like if he had the creative freedom that he really wanted, that could have been it could have been a way better album. Personally, I think that's what it was. Luckily, people that supported his music at the time, we all know the group Anonymous was a part of pretty much getting Lupe's album to come out. If you guys don't know that now you know. That's really what it was about. They came and said, hey, look, if y'all don't want to put out the album, we gonna expose the record label for what y'all really are, meaning the dark things they've done to artists at the label that Lupe was signed to. And if that would have got out the bed, it wouldn't have been a good look for Atlantic Records. That's all I'm gonna say. It wouldn't have been a good look. Whereas with Kendrick has a label, you know what I'm saying, that believes in him and everything, and he's able to do all the things he needs to do. I mean, he signed to Aftermath, he signed to Top Dog Entertainment and Interscope. Interscope is probably the mainstream part of it, but Aftermath and Top Dog, those are the indie labels, because Aftermath is an indie label now, from what Anderson .Paak said in the interview. But I think Ethan Kendrick's unfinished work is decent. I think when you think about it, I think Lupe is no, Kendrick's influenced by Lupe. I mean, Lupe shouted out Kendrick, gave the man an award when he came to Chicago. So I think Lupe sees a lot of Kendrick in him. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, Jimmy Levine. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think the problem is Lupe sees a lot of what he wanted to be, and I think due to the label that he was at, he never really, I'm not gonna say he didn't reach that pinnacle. He reached it, but he reached it at a difficult pace. You know what I'm saying? Whereas with Kendrick, you know what I'm saying, he's putting out stuff, and each time it's getting better each time. Whereas Lupe, he didn't have that free creative control to say what he really wanted to say on records. We all know that Lupe talks about it in some of the interviews he's been doing in the past about how Atlantic was. And he wasn't the only victim at Atlantic Records, because I know that for a fact that also another Atlanta artist and also Lupe's label mate at the time, B.O.B., experienced the same thing. And that's why he left the label. So, I'm happy that Lupe is an indie artist. I mean, the last album he did was really good. Lupe's last album. I'm looking forward to more music from him, as much as I'm looking forward to Kendrick, some new music from Kendrick as well. So I think they're both probably by far my favorite complex rappers. You know what I'm saying, that's been in the game for a while. I do have another person, but they haven't really put out enough work yet for me to just say, yeah, they're on the list too, but it's coming, you know what I'm saying? But I think they're both lyrical. I think Kendrick's more of an artist. Lupe's more of a lyricist. I think with Kendrick also that I noticed, Kendrick can, like you said, rap over different beats and make it very interesting. But I think Kendrick has his storytelling. He has a great gift with storytelling and just kind of putting something together. Even with Damn, the album was backwards. You know what I'm saying? All the stuff that happened, he told from a reverse point of view. And then he came out with another version of Damn, telling it from the start to the finish. And I'm like, wow, I never, when you look at albums, you always get something from an album, right? But I wasn't expecting Damn to be backwards, you know what I'm saying? Telling the story from the backwards to the very beginning, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like, all right, start, finish, you know what I'm saying? This will happen at this particular time in my life and that particular time in my life. But also I think with Kendrick, I think with the one thing that differs between Kendrick and Lupe, Kendrick, and let me just say this: I like Lupe when he does features too. Do not get me wrong. I think Kendrick does better features too. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I listen to a feature, you could tell Kendrick puts his all into a feature. You know what I'm saying? Like, them bars be fire. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Lupe, he puts stuff into a feature, but sometimes I think it just goes over people's head. He's like Immortal Technique. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I respect them both. Like I said, Kendrick's definitely by far my favorite TDE artist. The first TDE artist that I really enjoyed listening to. Lupe was probably the very first shy blurred rapper that I got into. I mean, Kanye, you know what I'm saying, he was different too for the time being. But with Lupe, I think personally, I never got into his first album, Food and Liquor. I got into it over a couple years ago, and I started to see why I really started to gravitate towards the first album. But my very first Lupe album had to be The Cool. That was my very first Lupe album that I ever owned. It was a really good album. You know what I'm saying? Dealt with death, losing a loved one. He lost his father at the time and everything. The music was a little bit darker and had a darker tone to it. It had some I guess you could say some positive tracks on there too, like Hip Hop Saved My Life and you know what I'm saying, other songs too. But you could tell Lupe had went through a lot when that came out. Yeah, Food and Liquor was nice. Yeah, it was. Definitely. I was sleeping on it, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I heard Food and Liquor and I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, I was in high school then, and one of my homeboys was a big Lupe fan. I'm like, I don't know about this Food and Liquor, bro. Like, it was cool. He had me listen to a couple tracks, but at the time, I wasn't really, too excited about it. But I got into it, though. I really enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? But I think the Cool, it was just something about the Cool that kind of just stuck with me, man. Just the tracks and just the lineup, the production. But it was a very good project too. Food and Liquor. Food and Liquor 2 was good, I think. I mean, I think the approach was a little different. Kick Push was the anthem. Yeah, it was. Kick Push, yeah. And the song he did with Jill Scott, Dreaming. Oh my God. With Jill Scott, that was fire. You know what I'm saying? The song he did with Jay-Z, what is that? Gosh, can't think of the name of the track. I can't think of the track off the top of my head, but the song with Lupe and Jay-Z, that was nice. I did enjoy that. But yeah, Lupe, I think the very first album I got into with Lupe was pretty much like I said, Food and Liquor, the first album. Not first album, excuse me, The Cool, you know what I'm saying? But then later on I got into Food and Liquor. The with Kendrick, I think how I first gravitated towards Kendrick, I was on a website called Live Mixtapes. This is a big mixtape website where you can download music from there for free that are mixtapes and EPs of artists and stuff. I caught wind of Kendrick literally. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Pressure. Yes, that was fire. I think with Kendrick, I heard him on someone else's mixtape, and I'm like, dang, who is this cat on this verse? You know what I'm saying? And like I started to look up his music on that same website. Like I still listen to the other artists too, right? So I'm like, all right, let me see what else he got on here. I looked at all his mixtapes, like Overly Dedicated, the Kendrick Lamar EP, you know what I'm saying, Training Day, C4, his version of C4, which is a homage to Lil Wayne, the best rapper alive. And I thought, like, this dude is nice, you know. And I think with Kendrick, man, I like his storytelling, man, and I like the stuff that he talked about in his music. And I had listened to Kendrick before he became, like, he was an indie artist when I was still listening to him. Then when he became mainstream, I'm like, dog, dude's still nice. But the very first Kendrick album I owned, because I owned his mixtapes, I downloaded them, was Session 80. Session 80 probably was the staple. That was the album that said, you know what? I'm rocking with this guy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the type of music I was like, this guy's putting out something that's it's lyrical, but it's different. I mean, we had J. Cole at the time, so don't get me wrong. But I think Session 80 was the project was like, hey y'all, I'm rocking with him. You know what I'm saying? Then Good Kid came out. Then To Pimp a Butterfly. I still think To Pimp a Butterfly was a better album than Good Kid, Mad City. Don't get me wrong. Good Kid, Mad City was good for what it was for the time being. But I felt like To Pimp a Butterfly, that just was, whew. That album was deep, yo. And when I think about Kendrick albums, man, and I remember someone saying, like, what are your Kendrick albums? I think Session 80, you know what I'm saying, that's definitely my number one. Then To Pimp a Butterfly, you know what I'm saying? Then after that, Damn. And then the EP. The EP was fire too, even though it wasn't complete. Pimp a Butterfly was more of a complete and mature project. Yes, agreed. And I think that's what it was, man. I think, and it spoke to our problems as Black people too, and what we go through on a daily basis and stuff. Good Kid was his intro. Good Kid. Yeah, it was like his introduction album to the mainstream. Yeah, you're right, bro. That's exactly what it is, man. And I think with Kendrick, man, Session 80 was more of his indie, you know what I'm saying, introduction. And like you said, right, Good Kid was. And like I said, I think I like both artists personally. I mean, people are saying, oh, so-and-so's better, so-and-so's better. Now, I will say this. Kendrick is influenced by Lupe. Like, if you listen to the music, you can see it, man. You know what I'm saying? And I like that. You know what I'm saying? You can see that they have, I think, with Lupe, and I'm not saying this to be mean or anything, I think Lupe has an admiration for Kendrick. It's just in a way that's a little different. I think some people are saying it's a little bit weird. I don't think it's weird, man. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's just he's showing that he appreciates the artist. You know what I'm saying? He went out his way to give Kendrick an award when he was on tour in Chicago. So that's how I really look at it. But I think Lupe is a dope artist too, man. I think they both make incredible music. And I think, man, I really hope, one of these days, man, you know what I'm saying, I could see both of them do a track together. I would love to see both of these artists do a track together because I feel like it would be a very interesting track to see. Like, because I know it would be incredible, you know what I'm saying, just to see who's going to out-rap who. Or how they're gonna just assist one another. It could be like something with like how Kanye and Jay-Z did Watch the Throne type of thing, exchanging verses back and forth. But it could just be for one record. I don't think we'll ever see a full album, maybe like a feature. But I would love to see. Hopefully, maybe Kendrick might be able to get Lupe on an actual album. You know what I'm saying? Or if Kendrick can do it, that's great. I really would like to see them both collaborate on something together for a song, man. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that can happen. But yeah, man, like I said, I think those guys those are definitely my favorite two complex rappers. And I'll talk about number 3, guys. The other artist is Kimba. Kimba is an artist from the Bronx. Actually, it's the funniest thing now that I mention it. Kendrick Lamar co-signed my man. He co-signed him when he came to New York. He let him, do his song and everything, and Kendrick showed him love. And he's probably the third. That's my third favorite Complex rapper. There are other Complex rappers too. Maybe I'll do another video, like maybe on all my favorite Complex rappers. But Kimba is a very dope artist from New York. He's from Bronx, New York. He's had other projects. I have never listened to his second project. I heard his first project was decent. He had a mixtape out a while back called Niggas. That was really good. And then he came out with his debut album, Gilda, when he was signed to Universal Republic, which is Lil Wayne, signed to that same label. The first album was really good, dealt with how to losing a loved one, following your dreams, and life changes that you go through losing someone, especially someone that's your actual parent. But I think with Kimba's a very good artist. I guess the situation that he had with Republic didn't work out for him, but I'm still happy to hear that he's still putting out music on the indie side. Originally, Nas wanted to sign him to Mass Appeal, but I don't think it would have been a good look on Mass Appeal. You know what I'm saying? Like at the time, Mass Appeal isn't what it is now. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, Kimba on Mass Appeal just wouldn't. I don't think it would have worked out. But Kimba is definitely a dope artist. Like I said, he has an album out, a mixtape that's really good as well. Like I said, even GNC. I think that was the very first project that was like I want to say it was an album, if not a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? Some people consider they mixtape albums or albums mixtapes. But he's nice, man. He's nice with it. When he's featured on something, he gives it his all. Like I said, he reminds me of Kendrick, but just on the East Coast. And I like what he's doing with the music, man. You know what I'm saying? Very lyrical. Like I said, he's been working on new music. He's been releasing like just songs and stuff, and I like him as an artist, man. But this is my live for Friday, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I know this is a new setup. I am learning how to use this app called Prism, I believe, and it's really decent right now. So I will definitely be using this again, and I might try to do lives on Friday because I might have to do it at an earlier time though, because I end up being going back to work pretty soon. So definitely, but thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'm out.